Hello, welcome along to WD18, the Watford fan channel, with myself, Jacob Coleshaw, Sam Yuko, Charlie Zazera on today's video. Got a lot to discuss, a lot to break down. It's been a busy day in Watford. It always is a busy day following this football club. Charlie, how you getting on, mate?
Yeah, all good. This week there's been loads of news. I can't remember if it was Tuesday, but felt like it was all happening. Lots to get into, and obviously we'll preview the Bristol City game.
Sam, how's uni, mate?
Yeah, it's good. Work's ramping up at the moment, but what's getting me through it is the thought of watching Jake Livermore play football on Saturday at Bristol City away. So nearly there now, recording this on the Thursday. It's nearly the end of the week, so let's just enjoy it.
And getting to spend another 40 minutes with Charlie Zazera. Now, Charlie, you mentioned to us about a call you had yesterday. For people who don't know, could you maybe just give us a teaser of who you spoke to and what the call was about?
Now, I just spoke to Dean Whitehead. Obviously, we had a relationship from working the coach's voice before he joined. Spoke to him in the summer, just had a catch up with him, see how everything's going. He was really positive. They're loving it, loving working with the players, what they've created, kind of wanting to get that feedback from the fans. But I think I just said, look, all the fans are behind you, and it's just really happy to see what you guys are doing. So, yeah, it was good to catch up with him. I'm sure we'll try and get him on the channel at some point to go into a bit deeper. But it's good to know we've got some good people working the club, and those guys are enjoying it. And yeah, good time at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. I think Dean would have been perfect for our Val Ball 2.0 video. So we'll have to get him on at some point to give us a breakdown of what life's like under Valor and Ismail, and working so closely with him. There's been a lot of activity with Watford this week, and particularly today, with the news coming out this morning, Sam, that Rhys Healey, a striker who wasn't in favour under Valérien Ismail since he came to the club, it looks to be on his way to Huddersfield for a fee of £2 million. He joined in the summer on a free transfer after playing for Toulouse in Ligue 2. And it just hasn't really worked out. He's been a bit part player. He started away at QPR as a lone striker. I've always got the impression he needs to play in a two. I think his best performances for Watford or cameos was when he was playing in a two with Bayo or Rajovic and feeding off those two guys. But it was Adam Leventhal who released the news today, Sam. What was your initial reaction, and what's your take on Rhys Healey leaving the football club to join Huddersfield?
I think it's a move that suits all parties, to be honest with you, particularly the fee that we're reportedly getting, £2 million. That's profit for us. For a player who hasn't featured as heavily as he would have wanted to. He'll be going to Huddersfield where he'll be playing more minutes. And as Charlie mentioned to me before the show, he'll be moving closer to home as well. I think his family are based in Manchester. So I think it's a move that makes sense for everyone. I think Rhys is probably one of the last signings that we got on board before Valérien Ismail came in and said that he wanted more control, because he's clearly not a Val striker, and I think that's why he hasn't been in favour. So look, fair play to him for getting this move. Wish him nothing but the best. Scored 2 huge goals for us this season. Can't forget that volley against Southampton and the winner away at Blackburn as well. So wish him all the best. I'm sure he'll do really, really well at Huddersfield, where I think it'll probably suit him a bit more than Val Ball out Vicarage Road.
Charlie, I'm seeing this as a really clever bit of business from Watford. You know, as I mentioned at the top of the show, he joined on a free transfer. We're set to make £2 million profit on a guy who's very much just featured off the bench and made the odd starting appearance here and there. He's a guy who had quite a long-term injury with his ACL, so there was probably a little bit of thinking behind that, whether how many minutes he can play, obviously getting back to fitness as well. But clearly Val wasn't a huge fan of Healey. I like Healey myself, but I don't think he's suited to the way Val completely wants to play. Do you see this as a good bit of business, or would you have liked to see us keep him on for another 6 months?
Do you remember that the meme that used to get bandied about with Gino Pozzo as Wolf of Wall Street? Gino's done it again. I don't know if that will be coming out, but yeah, I think I remember when we signed him, and to get him on a free, and everyone was saying, look, getting this low risk signing, really good bit of business. Obviously, we know he wasn't a Val player. He's worked up his fitness, which is great to see. We've made £2 million on him. I think, like what you say with the recruitment, I think it is a good bit of business because, like Sam said, he's contributed 2 important goals for 4 points. So if anything magic does happen at the end of the season, he would have played a part in that. So yeah, I think good for all parties. Thanks, Rhys Healey, for all of his efforts, and wish him best of luck.
Yeah, I think just also to add to that, Charlie, just on that, to balance it up a little bit, some people will be saying, Yeah, it is great business, but it's only great business if they can buy a replacement or at least bring in someone of a similar standard. Do you think we will do that? Because we link with a few names.
Yeah, I feel like the last couple of days there's been rumours coming out, so I don't know if agents are being busy. And look, Adam Leventhal reported today that this Healey deal is going to facilitate for a striker coming in. Without Healey, we've got Rajovic and Bayo. We've seen Bayo has been suspended for 3 games, so we are going to need that extra striker. So yeah, might be a bit of an exciting end to the window for Watford fans to see who we do bring in.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, I mean, Rhys Healey looks to be on his way to Huddersfield. He's in advanced talks with the club at the moment, £2 million fee. I think the general consensus I'm getting, and let us know in the comment section, is a good bit of business, but interested to see who we bring in as a replacement for Rhys, because as Charlie mentioned, Rajovic, Bayo are 2 strikers that are going to be here definitely for this season anyway. Do we bring in a third striker, and who that third striker is going to be? So, we'll keep you updated on that one. So that's Rhys Healey on his way to Huddersfield, it looks like. Charlie, just go back to that with a new striker potentially. Who's been linked? Are there any rumours, any news that we can maybe touch on here about awesome players that Watford fans could get excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's 4 main links that I've seen this week. We've had the Sassuolo striker, De Frail, 32-year-old Frenchman, 5'11". Not too sure about him, if I'm honest, what it looks like on paper, considering his age. I think he scored 2 goals since the start of last season. And then another striker that was rumoured yesterday, Denis Dragus, who's a Romanian forward. He's been playing in Turkey on loan this season. I think that one's a non-runner because this will be his third club, and similar to that Tivic signing that we couldn't get done, that we spoke about on Sunday, the Croatian lad. But there is one player who I do think we should get excited about, David Okereke, 6-foot Nigerian striker. He's been playing in Serie B so far this season. He hasn't been getting a lot of minutes, which is a tiny bit of a red flag, but he's had a decent career. I think he's got about 1 in 4 goals so far in his career. He loves playing against the Milan clubs. Last season he scored at the San Siro. The one against Inter was an absolute beauty. I tweeted that. Flew past Onana in goal, and he scored against AC Milan as well. But this is the player who I'm really excited about if we could bring him in. I think he's got all the attributes of a kind of Val striker that we want. Good physical player, both-footed. I've seen him score goals left foot and right foot. Really dynamic, really good presser. So he's one that kind of stands out. And the only thing I'm saying, why is he not playing more for the team he's currently at? But if we can get a player like him in, it would be exciting for me, for what I've seen of him. I do think he's a Moji Bayat client. He has been playing in Belgium before. So that's probably one that fans might be disgruntled at. But look, Emmanuel Dennis came in the same kind of vibe, but he's one to look out for. David Okereke, if we can bring him in, I think it'd be good.
Just on the striker situation, Sam, with Healey leaving, or look to be set to be leaving anyway. I mentioned we got Bayo, Rajovic. What type of striker would you like to see Watford try and recruit this month?
I've said it before, and I'm not really sure who it would be, so I can't give names, but someone who's sort of a blend between Rajovic and Bayo, because I think both of them offer really unique skill sets in terms of, I think Rajovic can be a really good finisher in and around the 6-yard box, but I think what Bayo offers us is really intense work rate. He won't stop running. And I think if we can sort of combine the two of them there, someone who's got the work rate of Bayo, but the finishing ability of Rajovic, I think we've got the perfect Val striker. Someone as well with the build of Rajovic as well, who could be perhaps a bit quicker, I think would be perfect for us. I'm not really sure sort of who fits into that mould, unless you're looking at the likes of, I don't know, the one who sprung to mind was in world football would be someone like Olivier Giroud, but that's a bit out of our reach, I think. But someone in that mould, I think, would be brilliant for us.
Yeah, it's quite a unique skill set for a Val striker, I think. When you looked at the 3 options that we had in Bayo, Rajovic and Healey, they all had attributes that I thought suited the way Val wanted to play. I think you look at Healey's finishing, or Ravic's finishing, Healey's pressing, and then Bayo's off-the-ball defensive work. And if you brought all 3 of them together, I think you've probably got the complete Val striker there. So it's whether you bring in someone to come straight into the team, or like a De Frail who might complement the other strikers and gives us another option if we want to play a different way. Just going back onto Healey, I think the reason maybe he didn't work out was because it was in a system where we played a single target man striker. He needed to play in a two in order to thrive. So it makes sense to let him go. Whereas you look at someone like Arajovic, there's no arguing he can finish, but then what does he offer away from the finishing? And then you look at Bayo and you're like, well, he offers a lot away from the finishing, but he needs to add the finishing. So that third striker is a bit of a conundrum, really, Charlie, because what do we go for someone who's similar to Rajovic or Bayo, or what specifically different would you be looking for in this next striker?
I don't know what you guys think. Well, I think the two attributes that we need to look at for Val Ball is, one, the pressing, starting off that press, which I think Rajovic really lacks, something that Bayo does have. And secondary, the finishing. We need to be more clinical. We haven't seen too much this season. The striker just dispatch chances if they're going 1-on-1. In fact, we've seen plenty of kind of those missed. And yeah, we done that video at the start of the window, and I was even looking at, again, that Michael Kufman at Union Berlin. Again, they're bringing in someone else, so could that be someone we loan in? But for me, I think it's more the pressing and the finishing are two of the biggest skill sets we need. We originally thought Val Ball would be about a big number 9, but do you guys think we need a big physical number 9 who's going to hold it up, even like a Troy Deeney, bring people into play? Because I'm not so convinced from what I've seen us play so far. It'd be nice to have.
I do think the pressing elements to it are probably more important than the hold-up play. But I still think it is an element that is important, because if you look at our wide options, particularly when Kansama's not playing, I think we have sometimes lacked physicality, and we just need someone who can just, when you put it up there, someone who can just glue things together and hold it up, wait for people to come forward. Because, for example, if Martins and Esprit are out wide, I think we struggle to keep the ball up because the ball sometimes struggles to stick to them. A name that I did just think of, by the way, he's been out all season, has only just come back to fitness, is Daryl Dike at West Brom. Obviously worked at Barnsley as well with Ishmael. Now, he's not someone who we probably will go near this window just because he's still recovering from injury, and we probably have to spend a bit of money to bring him in. But I think someone in that mould could be a really good signing as well for us.
I think what will be interesting to look at is what type of deal we go after. Are we going to go after a free agent? Are we going to go for a loan to the end of the season with an option to buy? Are we going to dip into our fund that we've got with Healey moving on with a 2 million? I don't think we will. The way the club's operating, it operated over the summer as well. We look at Rajovic. How much did he cost? Was it just over £1 million? So the one name that I think would be a great fit is Ali Al Hamidi at Wimbledon. I think he completely fits the way Val wants to play from what I've seen. Don't get me wrong, I haven't watched extensive highlights of Wimbledon, but from what I've seen of him and his numbers as well, they don't lie. And I think he'd be a great fit. But Charlie, as you mentioned, I'd expect more. Well, you didn't say this, but the names you mentioned, I'd expect us more to go for that type of player.
This Okereke, looking at him, the fact that he's out of favour at his current club, but he's still 26 and got bags of ability, and the fact that we've got 2 million in for a Healey, I would not be surprised if we use that 2 million to get him out, especially with those links with old Moji. And I think that could be a really realistic signing. It's hard because I think on paper he looks like a really good player, and I'd be quite excited about the deal. But I just don't think there's many like Premier League strikers to go out on loan. We've seen Kiefer Moore this week linked with, is it Sunderland and Ipswich? He'd probably go to a team guaranteed to be in the promotion hunt instead of us. So I wouldn't be surprised if we tried to do another deal where if we got someone like this Okereke, got him for like 2 to 3 million, and then probably sold him on, similar to what we did with Emmanuel Dennis. Yeah,
let us know what type of striker you'd like to see Watford go for, and if there's any names that you think would be a good fit. Myself and Charlie did 5 players that we want Watford to sign. If you haven't checked that video out, make sure you do. It was good fun putting together a few names. Whether any of them actually come to fruition, we'll have to wait and see. And then we did another video on one player Watford could sign from every Premier League club, bar one in the end, which was Luton. We didn't name one for Luton, but one to keep an eye on whether we'll bring in a new striker. Charlie, there was a couple more rumours.
Yeah, there was just one more that I wanted to talk about. Lille right back, Hakim Zidadka, interesting player, very similar to Ryan Andrews. He's 28 now. really good crosser, really good interception. But when I looked at his clips today, his defending seemed to be his down point. He plays for Lille. He went on loan to Auxerre last season, so he's played in League One at a decent level. I imagine if we were to get him, it'd be like a loan deal. But he is very similar to Ryan, and for me, if we are trying to cover that right back position, I think I'd prefer someone that could complement Ryan, someone a bit more experienced, maybe a bit more defensive minded, who can help us close out games. What do you guys think about the prospect of Zdadka? Sam?
Yeah, it's I don't know too much about him, to be honest with you, so I won't lie and pretend I do.
Come on, Sam. Where's the preparation?
It's
by the way, just for people who don't know, Charlie's done a full-on doc with bullet points.
Stop exposing me for being the loser that I am.
No, this is. I just wanted to let people know, because that's the sort of preparation we're talking about for these videos.
We love it, Chaz. We love it.
Legend.
No, I think the right back position for me is a priority this window. I think we've seen that with his age and his work rate. I think Ryan Andrews is someone who we have to manage very, very carefully. It's an area spoken about quite a lot in football at the moment, particularly by Lou Orns, is overworking players and workload. And I think we have to manage Ryan Andrews very, very carefully, because while there's a lot of potential there, we don't want to run him down to the ground. So I think having that option there, just to rotate someone who's relatively similar to Ryan, would be absolutely fantastic. I love Tom Daly, but we know he's a better midfielder. We've spoken about that a lot on the channel. Jeremy Ngaki is out for the foreseeable future. We don't know when he's back. So I think it would be a really clever move to bring in a right back.
We said, Jacob, in our 5 players to sign, we spoke about Luke Ayling, who's now gone to Middlesbrough. But as like a secondary player for that was Middlesbrough's Tommy Smith, who I think could be like a Matt Connolly for us. Jacob, do you think we should get some more experience, or do you think someone who could compete with Ryan Andrews like Zdadka?
Yeah, I'd go for more experience myself. I think Zdadka. I mean, he's 28 years of age, right? He's been around. Like he's not a sort of someone who's just, or as Roy Keane would say, burst onto the scene. He's someone who been about. He knows how it all works. I think that type of signing's fine. I think it was more if you were getting a similar profile to Andrews and someone who's like 19, 20, and then they're competing. I think at 28-year-olds, to be honest, probably perfect, because they're still. There's always you want there to be an element of competition, but I always think Andrew should be our number one choice, and we should develop him, because it's been a while since we've had an academy product as good as him, and someone who can go on, in terms of his ceiling. Look, I think in terms of the right back situation, I think that's the move. I think Val's been quite clever with the right back situation, because he's got Deli Bashiru up to match sharpness, playing him at right back. Not ideal, but he's got him back up to match sharpness before he needs him in midfield, while giving Andrews a much needed break from 90 minutes every 3 or 4 days. I think when you actually look at it, it's been quite clever. And don't get me wrong, a little bit ropey at times, because Deli Bashiru isn't a natural right back. I think the Preston first half probably summed that up. But I think one thing you get with Andrews is, that energy, that pace, that tenacity going forward. And if we could bring in someone else who can either rotate with him, obviously with the load on some of the players, and also the way Val, what he wants from his fullbacks is quite demanding, I think. So you do need someone else who can come in and rotate, and just that maybe a little bit more experience. Someone like 28 to 32 who's still got the legs.
I do think it's important as well. We shouldn't buy someone for the sake of it. I'd rather have less bodies than buy in a bad egg. I don't know if you guys seen the interview that Ange did with TNT like earlier in the season, and he said one bad person in the change room is a big problem, and we've done so well to rekindle a really good culture at the club. So, do you know what I mean? I don't want kind of one of these lads to come in and have a chip on their shoulder because Ryan Andrews is playing in front of him, and it kind of ruins what we've made. So transfers, although it can be exciting, I do think they're really complex, and I think we shouldn't just do stuff for the sake of it. So I think it could be an interesting couple of weeks, which I didn't really expect at the start of Jan.
Sam, I'm getting the impression from what I'm hearing from Val and reading, it's going to be 1 in, 1 out this transfer window. Do you understand why he's thinking like that? With, for example, Healey going, okay, we'll replace a striker.
Yeah, 100%. I referenced it a few weeks ago, actually, but I think back to an interview that I think Dan Gosling did with Andrew French at the start of last season, where I think it was under Ranieri or Roy Hodgson, or even both, where we had such a big Premier League squad that players were being sent home from training when they weren't needed for drills. It was something along those lines, ridiculous, and that just made an unhappy camp. People didn't know whether they were coming or going the whole time. They didn't know if they were playing at the weekend. But I think by having such a small, compact squad, everyone knows they're involved at any given moment. Anyone knows they have an opportunity to make an impact. Even the fringe players, someone like Rhys Healey, who I know he's on his way out now, but he's had an opportunity to come in, make an impact. He has. Matty Pollock's made an impact and come on in games this season. James Morris has played minutes this season as well. So I think it's really important to have a small squad because, like we said before, in terms of having bad eggs in the dressing room, I think it's important to have a whole squad who know they're working for each other, who know that they're all going to get opportunities. So, yeah, it makes complete sense to me.
Absolutely. So we'll keep across the transfer news here on WD18. If you want to see all the rumours, then follow us at WD18 Fans, Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff. Moving on to a bit more Watford news. US Investment Group. Now, we did a whole video with Adam Leventhal on the situation there. At the time, he couldn't reveal who was behind the proposal, but it's been revealed by Adam on The Athletic that the US Investment Group, in ongoing talks with Watford, are called the Football Co., led by former US Marine and Goldman Sachs banker Peter Grieve, who wants a championship side in his multi-club model ownership. Now, Charlie, from what you've read, what you understand, what's your thoughts?
Not sure. Yeah, no, of what I've read, he absolutely loves his football. Like he's got a team in Zimbabwe who haven't done too well, but he's used it to kind of nurture talent and improve the area. I think he's tried to get a team in Gibraltar as well. Tried to get Hull in 2016. There's not a lot of evidence to show that he's a proven good operator in football, but I think you can clearly see how passionate he is about the game. I know he played it when he was younger, and obviously now he's built this company called Football Co. And I think I read today that he wants to launch a £1 billion multi-club group, which we've seen. Obviously, the Pozzo is something similar, but yeah, I'm not too sure. I think let's just wait. I think if he did move in, what I'd like to see is him appoint like a really good sporting director, CEO, people like that who can run the football operations. We see what like Todd Bowley done when he first came in and kind of was buying all the players. So I'd like to see people with a bit more of a football background if he were to come in, but still early stages. Like he was also trying to get Brazilian club Atlético Mineiro. So they're a massive club in Brazil. So I don't know, just watch his space. So I'm keeping abreast of it, but I just want to enjoy the football for the rest of the season and see what happens with this news.
According to Adam Leventhal, Peter Grieve was not at Vicarage Road for the Chesterfield game on January the 6th, but other members of the US contingent sat below the director's box for the game, and the group were hosted by Gino Pozzo. This was not the first time its representatives of the Football Co. had visited the UK, and on its website, the Football Co. describe itself as a global group of club owner-operators and business executives with a shared vision, culture of teamwork, and lifelong respect and passion for the game of football. The Football Co.'s driving purpose is to bring together the right mix of clubs, maximise player potential, and create the best experience for fans. Now, Sam, what was your take on this news? Did it change anything for you, finding out who's behind it, or was it sort of the same feeling?
Not really, to be honest with you, because, again, it's difficult to know too much about their backgrounds and what they'd offer because, like Charlie said, there hasn't been too much success or any sort of football background before until recent years. I think in terms of the thing that's fascinated me is the multi-club ownership model. I think some clubs have had great success with it. On a bigger scale, you've got the likes of Manchester City, who have a few clubs under their wing as well. I think it's called the City Football Group. Obviously, Watford at the moment, we had success towards the start of the Pozzo era. I think there are pros and cons to it, and it's something that I'd definitely be open to again, because I think the pros probably outweigh the cons, to be honest with you, in terms of player trading, if the laws don't change, because I think they're looking into changing them at the moment. I just want whoever's running the football side of things to be proper football people. I don't want to sound too much like a cliche there, but people who know what they're doing in terms of English football and the way things are managed, because ultimately, I think Watford are in sort of an interesting position at the moment, both financially with the debt that we're in at the moment, or supposedly in the process of clearing. We're a team who have the ability to bounce back to the Premier League, but also the ability, I think, to spiral down the leagues as well. That's the reality of where we are, I think. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting few months ahead. Yeah, it does appear that these talks are being taken seriously as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how this one develops over the coming months, because since we last spoke to Adam, it has developed. So it's one of those that will be fast moving, I think, throughout the season. And speaking of this season, we've got a trip to Bristol City on Saturday to Ashton Gate. I'll be there. Charlie's not going to be there. We didn't reach 200 likes. But can I just say, what an effort from everyone who watched that video. 184 likes. So we were just shy of 16 likes away from Charlie's Azera at Bristol City. Sam, you're going to be there Saturday. You look forward to it? I'm buzzing. I've never been there before, but I just watched them play West Ham in the FA Cup. And the ground looks massive. And the pitch is huge as well.
Yeah. So I was there last season. Not the best memories. I think it was the game where Dan Gosling did his ankle and did his Achilles. I think it was last season. Was that Sheffield United or was it Bristol City away?
It was Bristol City.
It was Bristol City.
Yeah, it was the last away game before the mid-season World Cup. It was a terrible game of football. So hoping for something a bit better on Saturday. Really looking forward to it. I think actually I did watch their game against West Ham the other day. And I know they won the game and their confidence will be sky high, but I do think it could play into our hands a bit because they were brilliant the other night. So fair credit to them. They looked absolutely knackered by the end of it. So I'm hoping that can play into our hands.
Yeah, agreed. I had a similar thought, and it actually reminded me of Fulham's performance at Liverpool, where they put so much into the game in that Carabao Cup semi-final, and then I think they played Chelsea at the weekend, and they looked absolutely shot to bits. So I think hopefully, from a Watford point of view and purely selfish point of view, that Bristol City are a little bit leggy, Charlie. You've obviously done a lot of work on Liam Manning, his style of play. What can we expect from his Bristol City team?
God, going back a few years now. No, just he's a really exciting, good coach, like really good communicator with his players. I'm not too much sure on the shape and stuff like that. It didn't work out for him at MK Dons, but he done brilliantly at Oxford and now Bristol City. They've got a really young team full of really good, exceptional talents. I'm not sure how this is going to go. I'll take a point now if you ask me, because I think they are a decent team. But look, our away form, what is it, 4 wins in the last 5? We're the Watford, the mighty Watford, and we always win away. So I'm hoping that you boys are going to be buzzing come 5-6 o'clock on Saturday, and I'm going to be regretting that we couldn't get up to 200 likes and I didn't get that train all the way down. But looking forward to it. Love watching this team now, so hopefully we can do the business.
And if you look at the table now, as Charlie mentioned, there's 4 wins at the last 5 away from home. Watford sit 8th in the league, 27 games played, 39 points. If we win with results going our way, we could enter the playoffs into 6th position with Coventry and Sunderland 1 point ahead of us. So there's a tangible target for this Watford team in the short term. Sam, just to wrap up this Watford team, anything you'd change from QPR starting lineup wise? Any players you'd like to see involved from the off?
It's difficult to say. Obviously, Rhys Healey will come out. Vacuum Bio's back in the fold for this one, I believe. So, yeah, I'd be really keen to see Bio back in there straight away. So, yeah, that's the one change I'd probably make, unless we stick Jake Livermore up front, obviously, which would be great fun to see. I think for me, and I touched on this on our match reaction after QPR, for me, I want to see a better first half. I think that's the next step for this Watford team. We seem to be doing really well in the last half an hour, 40 minutes of games, but can we do that over 90 minutes? It's a difficult one because it's difficult to keep up that intensity throughout. It just feels like sometimes we're almost saving ourselves to have a slow start and then finish strongly. But I want to see us start the game quickly as well, particularly after our poor result against Bristol City recently. Show them that we've improved, and let's hope we can get a result.
I think also the fact that Bristol City's game against West Ham, they scored inside 3 minutes with Tommy Conway. So they're going to they're a team that do notoriously start pretty quickly, and Watford start pretty slowly. So I think that first 20 minutes is really going to set the tone for this one. Charlie, it's a bit weird actually, just to wrap up, that we've got a game against Bristol City, even though it was like less than a month ago on Boxing Day, we lost 4-1 at home.
That game in my mind never happened. So hopefully it gives the players a bit of revenge. And I'd like to see Ishmael Kone for this one. I think he was ill last week, but I think he can be a top player for us. So it'd be good to see him back on the field for us.
Sky's the limit for Ishmael. What was he? So he was on the bench at QPR. Was that because of illness?
Him and Porter were ill, I think.
Right, got you. Yeah, I'd love to see Kone back in there, especially someone who can drive the ball. But there's also the conundrum with Georgie after his performance at QPR. Do you carry him on in there? Has he rewarded his spot?
I'd have Kone and probably Tom Delly, maybe Georgie off the bench. I love Tom. I think Tom Delly's a bit underrated, and I think he does more defensive work than Kone.
I disagree there. I don't think you can take Georgie out after that performance the other day. I thought he was absolutely excellent. And I know it's unfortunate circumstance. I think Kone's unbelievable. But if anything, I think Tom Delly comes out for Kone. I'm not sure how that impacts the balance, but I think Georgie's got to play.
Jake Livermore would be doing a lot of work, I reckon.
That's also
Jake Livermore and vibes. Tactics. I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. Thanks so much to everyone who watched today. Let us know what you thought of all the sort of discussion points. We touched on Rhys Healey, very close to joining Huddersfield, a new striker potentially coming in, some transfer rumours, the US investment group, Bristol City Preview, packed into about half an hour. So a lot in there. If you could leave a like on the video on the way out, it'd be massively appreciated. On audio, drop us a review, subscribe to WD18, turn on your post notifications, all that good stuff. And we'll be back on Sunday, lads, for Bristol City's, hopefully, a Watford win at Bristol City review. So take care of yourselves, guys. If you're going to Bristol City, have a great day. Bring back the 3 points and love the audience.